Vajpayee.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move for leave to introduce a bill to provide for the establishment of the institution of Lokpal to inquire into allegations of corruption against public functionaries and for matter connected therewith. अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं इस विधेयक के समर्थन में दो शब्द कहना चाहूंगा। ये विधेयक जन्म मरण के अनेक फेरे पार करके आज की स्थिति में पहुंचा है। जब एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म्स कमीशन का निर्माण हुआ था 1966 में मुरारजी भाई की अध्यक्षता में, तो फिर उन्होंने दो संस्थाओं के बारे में सुझाव दिए थे, एक लोकपाल और दूसरा लोकायुक्त। लोकायुक्त का गठन राज्यों में हो गया है और लोकायुक्त काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जहां तक लोकपाल का प्रश्न है, बार बार इस लोकसभा के सामने प्रस्ताव लाए गए, विधेयक पेश हुए, चर्चाएं भी हुई, समितियां बनी और ये सिलसिला 1968 में शुरू हुआ। 1971 में फिर इसके लिए विचार का प्रबंध हुआ। 1985 में फिर से इसे लाया गया, क्योंकि विधेयक पारित होने से पहले लोकसभा भंग हो जाती थी, लोकसभा बीच में ही तिरोहित हो जाती थी। 1996 में आखिरी बार प्रयत्न हुआ था कि इसे कानून का रूप दे दिया जाए, लेकिन तब भी लोकसभा के भंग होने की स्थिति पैदा हो गई। हमने अपने नेशनल एजेंडा फॉर गवर्नेंस में इस विधेयक को कानून का रूप देने का वचन दिया है। आज हम ये वचन अपना पूरा कर रहे हैं। हमने ये भी वचन दिया था कि प्रधानमंत्री को इस विधेयक की परिधि में लाया जाए। ये चर्चा का विषय है, इस पर भिन्न भिन्न दृष्टिकोण हो सकते हैं, चर्चा के दौरान वो आ सकते हैं, लेकिन जहां तक हमारा सवाल है, हम चाहते हैं कि मंत्रियों में और प्रधानमंत्री में, संसद सदस्यों में, और प्रधानमंत्री भी संसद का सदस्य होता है, उसमें कोई अंतर नहीं होना चाहिए। कानून सभी पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स पर लागू होगा, तो सभी संसद सदस्य उसकी सीमा में आएंगे, क्योंकि अब संसद सदस्य
No. Please. No. Please. No, please. आप बैठिए जी। No, प्लीज। No, ऐसा नहीं है।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, लोकपाल में 3 सदस्य होंगे।
No. ऑनरेबल मेंबर प्लीज।
और तीनों सदस्य न्यायपालिका से आएंगे। लोकपाल और अन्य 2 सदस्यों का चयन करने के लिए एक समिति बनेगी। उपराष्ट्रपति उसके अध्यक्ष होंगे। और प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में प्रधानमंत्री के अतिरिक्त लोकसभा अध्यक्ष, गृह मंत्री, उस सदन का नेता जिसमें प्रधानमंत्री सदस्य नहीं होगा वो शामिल किया जाएगा, और लोकसभा में प्रतिपक्ष के नेता और राज्यसभा में प्रतिपक्ष का नेता।
No, please let him come. No, please. Mr. Mohan Singh, please. Let him.
लोकपाल इन सभी सार्वजनिक पदारूढ़ व्यक्तियों के खिलाफ उन शिकायतों की जांच करेगा जो प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट 1988 के अधीन दंडनीय होंगे। लोकपाल के अध्यक्ष अथवा सदस्य यदि वे किसी सदन के सदस्य होंगे, सांसद होंगे या विधानमंडल के सदस्य होंगे तो उन्हें उसे त्याग पत्र देना पड़ेगा। मैं लंबा भाषण नहीं कर रहा हूं। अगर
the new custom and convention which you are introducing, that can't happen.
No, please.
It is never done. It is never done.
No, please. No, please.
Are you this?
Shankar ji, please.
This seems to be politically motivated and nothing else.
No.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये परंपरा रही है कि
प्राइम मिनिस्टर भाई जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर
बिल को पेश करते हुए बिल की रूपरेखा के बारे में दो शब्द कहे जाते हैं।
No.
मुझे कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, मैं बैठ जाता हूँ।
Discussion, you have a right.
No.
अगर ये प्राइम मिनिस्टर जब भी बोलते हैं उनको ऐसे कैसे
Yes.
आप बोलिए।
आपको
स्पीकर अलाउ कर रहे हैं,
but I have also
बात हो गई, स्पीकर अलाउ कर रहे हैं।
at the time of the introduction.
No, Shankar ji, please.
स्पीकर परमिटिंग, स्पीकर परमिटिंग, नहीं स्पीकर परमिट कर रहे हैं।
Advani ji,
You
please.
get the convention. Change the rules. Change the rules.
Shankar ji.
At every time we introduce.
No. Advani ji.
Speaker, sir, I am surprised really. I am aware that on many occasions when a bill is introduced, there is no statement. There have been many occasions also when the mover of the bill, when he introduces, he makes a brief statement. That's all. I can...
No, Shankar ji,
Please, sir.
Let him.
And I'm extremely sorry. Extremely
No,
sorry that a plain factual statement was being opposed in this ground. And that too in the case of the Prime Minister. I regret that it should have happened.
Vajpayee ji, he will come.
But he...
No, please.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं सदन का अधिक समय नहीं लेना चाहता। विधेयक विचार के लिए प्रस्तुत किया जा रहा है और सदन को उस पर विचार करने का पूरा मौका मिलेगा। मेरा इरादा
No, please.
मेरा इरादा उसकी मोटी रूपरेखा सदस्यों के सामने रखने का था, जिसकी वजह से इंट्रोडक्शन में आसानी हो, जिसकी वजह से इंट्रोडक्शन में जो संभावित आपत्तियां हैं उन संभावित आपत्तियों का निराकरण किया जा सके। मुझे इस अवसर पर और ज्यादा कुछ नहीं कहना है।
The question is that the leave be granted to introduce the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it, the leave is granted. The Prime Minister may now introduce the bill.
Sir, I introduced the bill.
Now the statement by the Honorable Prime Minister Vajpayee. Now the Honorable Prime Minister. The statement by the Honorable Prime Minister. Submit, sir.
Sir, over the last few weeks, government has kept the House regularly informed about developments in the field of international relations and our foreign policy. I take this opportunity to bring honorable members up to date on the most recent events, especially SAARC our relations with Pakistan and the recent ARF and ASEAN dialogue meetings. I visited Colombo on 28 to 31st July 1998 to participate in the 10th SAARC summit. I was accompanied by Commerce Minister, Deputy Chairman Planning Commission, as well as Minister of State for External Affairs, who led our delegation at the ministerial level meeting preceding the summit. The summit reaffirmed the common desire of SAARC member states to strengthen cooperation in the region. There was general agreement with our perception that to meet the challenges and to avail of the opportunities presented by the substantially transformed global economic situation, it was essential to enhance bilateral as well as SAARC regional economic, social and technical cooperation. The agenda and the discussions during the summit were focused on these areas. It was agreed that SAARC must move purposefully towards setting up a free trade area. A group of experts will be set up to negotiate a comprehensive legal framework for this purpose, incorporating schedules for liberalized trade and facilitation measures, taking into account least developed countries' concerns. Parallel steps will be taken to conclude the third round of the trade negotiations under the South Asian Preferential Trade Arrangement and to commence the next round. We have reiterated our commitment to and readiness for bold initiatives to speed up trade liberalization. I announced our government's decision to lift all quantitative restrictions preferentially on imports from SAARC countries with effect from August 1, 1998. This is a decision with far-reaching positive economic and developmental consequences for the region and has been welcomed. We also made known our readiness to enter into bilateral free trade arrangements with interested SAARC countries. Shri Lanka has taken up this offer. In our discussion, it was recognized that the benefits of trade liberalization would be more extensive and balanced through promoting trade-related joint ventures, investment, and trade in services such as tourism. India's decision to substantially increase the ceiling for investment for India under the fast track in SAARC countries from $8 to $15 million has also been welcomed. This will encourage a greater flow of Indian investment and stimulate trade. Important initiatives have been taken in the social sector to illustrate a social charter for SAARC, agreement to finalize a convention to combat illegal trafficking in women and children. This is to be signed at the next SAARC summit. A regional convention on child welfare will also be developed. We underline the importance of cooperation in energy through network. India has further offered to host a special meeting of finance, science and technology ministers to consider a SAARC S&T initiative for regional projects in rural areas, directly benefiting the people. We also underline the utility of cooperation in traditional systems of medicines and have invited participation in a health ministers meeting in India for this purpose. India has reaffirmed support for comprehensive environment-related proposals. I would like to draw attention to my bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the summit with the presidents of Maldives and Sri Lanka, the prime ministers of Bangladesh and Nepal, and the chairman of the Council of Ministers of Bhutan. These meetings provided the occasion for renewing our friendly contact for fruitful discussions, enabling a review of our bilateral relations and the progress in specific areas of cooperation, as well as for sharing our perception. I took the opportunity in my interaction with other leaders to reiterate our commitment to peace and stability, setting at rest misconceptions about our recent nuclear tests. Our initiatives for confidence building and disarmament have been appreciated. There was agreement on the need to commence purposeful negotiations towards a comprehensive and non-discriminatory global nuclear disarmament regime and a nuclear weapon-free world. We have conveyed our appreciation to the Sri Lankan government for the excellent arrangements made for the summit, and in particular to President Chandrika Kumar Tunga for the vision and efficiency with which she steered the summit deliberations. We wish her well in her new responsibility in chairing SAARC. We assure Sri Lanka of our full support. In my interaction with Pakistan Prime Minister Mr. Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, which included a long meeting on July 29, I reiterated our commitment to developing peaceful and friendly ties with Pakistan and our interest in a secure, stable and prosperous Pakistan. I urge that we should work together to develop trust and confidence and avail of the many opportunities for mutually beneficial cooperation in the economic, social and other fields so that we can improve the lives of peoples. I further underline the need to work together to address our differences in a rational and realistic manner. The atmosphere of our discussions was cordial and constructive. I took I look forward to continuing purposeful interaction with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. My discussions with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif also focused on our official level dialogue. Honorable members will recall that such a dialogue had been resumed last year and that the subjects for discussion were jointly identified in June 1997. The modalities for this purpose have not yet been finalized. We directed our foreign secretaries to meet and complete this exercise. India has consistently underlined its commitment to a direct, composite dialogue with Pakistan. Such a comprehensive and sustained process will contribute to building trust and confidence, promote mutually beneficial cooperation, and help address bilateral issues. The dialogue must address the totality of the relationship and not be pursued in a narrow, segmental fashion which would defeat its very purpose, which is to build a wide-ranging and enduring relationship. A direct bilateral interaction which seeks to generate confidence and foster cooperation in functional areas and enhance people to people contacts would also help create a positive climate in which difficult issues under discussion could be purposefully addressed. It is recognized by the international community that all outstanding issues between India and Pakistan, including Jammu and Kashmir, should be settled bilaterally in a peaceful manner. The modalities which we have suggested would help ensure that the process moves forward on a broad front in a constructive and sustained manner, while at the same time providing a meaningful opportunity for discussions on confidence-building measures, cooperation, and dealing with outstanding issues as part of the composite process. Our foreign secretaries met in Colombo and exchanged views on this subject. We will remain engaged in the process and continue contacts through diplomatic channels to work out an agreement so that the dialogue could be continued. During my talks with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, I also emphasized that instigation and support of terrorism was incompatible with our common desire for friendly and peaceful relations, and that these activities must cease immediately. Honorable members are aware that we also participated in this year's ASEAN Post-Ministerial Conference, which is an important part of ASEAN's interaction with its dialogue partners, as well as the ASEAN Regional Forum, ARF, meeting held on July 24 to 29. Our delegation was led by Deputy Chairman Planning Commission. My government has reaffirmed the policy of strengthening cooperation with countries in ASEAN and the Asia-Pacific region as a whole. Apart from bilateral contacts, we have also established active communication with them in the framework of the dialogue partnership and ARF. Our participation in these meetings this year was particularly important as it provided an opportunity to once again clarify our policy on nuclear disarmament in the context of the recent tests, as well as to demonstrate our continued engagement in the economic and political stability of the region and share perceptions on regional and international developments. While the ARF chairman's statement contained a paragraph disapproving of recent tests in South Asia, with which we disassociated ourselves, we also found a better overall understanding on the part of ASEAN countries of the rationale of our policy, as well as a need for purposeful moves by the nuclear weapon states towards comprehensive universal nuclear disarmament on a non-partisan, non-discriminatory basis. We assured the ASEAN countries that we fully respected the status of the nuclear weapon-free zone in Southeast Asia. Our interaction with ASEAN reflected an understanding that cooperation and dialogue partnership with India had made good progress, and that we needed to jointly consolidate this through implementation of projects and measures under discussion in trade and investment, infrastructure and human resource development, tourism, culture and people-to-people contacts. The leader of our delegation also had constructive and forward-looking discussions with the foreign ministers of ASEAN countries, Russia, China, Australia and New Zealand, the US Secretary of State and the Minister of State of Japan and the United Kingdom. Our bilateral and multilateral interaction in the ASEAN and ARF meetings has helped our post-Pokhran II diplomatic efforts. Our overall approach and importance of the steps we have taken to address international and regional security concerns is better acknowledged. There is also continued recognition that India is a factor for peace and stability in the region. Thank you.
Yes, the honourable members.